Hello and welcome back to the Metropole Grid. I am Andrej.
And once again, Benoit is there with Andrej to commentate the game.
Salut Benoit.
Hey.
Hey, so this again is the BD Cosmos. It is a summer kit, July 23rd. This was a very pleasant afternoon.
9 players, I think?
Nine players,
Small
super
tournament?
small.
Yeah.
3 rounds. If you had a bye, that sucked. Sorry.
Yeah. It's Saturday afternoon in Montreal.
Very pleasant. Started at noon, got out at 5, went home for dinner. It was just for laughs this weekend. I saw good comedy. It was lovely.
Cool.
So on the left we have Philip. And on the right, we have Jerome. We've seen Jerome play before in the regionals. He was one of the Montreal regional winners, a very strong player. So we had a tournament here at the Randolph store a while ago in which we restricted IDs.
Yep. We played only the bad IDs.
All the like tier 2 IDs or what have you. And we forced a bunch of people to play next design.
Yeah.
And some people liked it.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
The whole point was to get newer players to see older IDs that we played a lot when they came out.
Right.
But all those new players didn't get to see older IDs.
Yeah. So we do have some video footage of that event. I'm going to look through it, see if anything is worth uploading.
Cool.
Unfortunately, a lot of games went to time.
Yeah.
Which is not exciting to watch. So I'm not going to make people watch that. But next design is, if you haven't seen the card, the ID before your first action, so that's after you mulligan, you can install up to 3 pieces of ice. Mm-hmm. That, in theory, is an Andromeda level of efficiency.
Yep. And then you draw back to your 5 cards.
Exactly. So the downside of that is you're probably going to have agendas in HQ. The upside is that you can probably dump those immediately into a scoring server.
And also the downside is that you have to build your deck according to it, which is most of the time 20 ice or something.
22 ice, I think, is what Philip is doing here.
Yep.
You have a lot of cheap ice. Melange is generally a staple as well. And it looks like we're going to have a hedge fund and an install in the server. Technically, he should have played the hedge fund before installing a card.
Of course.
Yeah, but he knows that.
It's fine.
Yeah. On the right, we have Jerome playing his Hayley deck. This is slightly different than the Hayley you saw in the regionals in Montreal.
Okay.
I think Hyperdriver became more of a focus, but very similar idea. You have a lot of stealth breakers. Proco is a great start. And hey, first turn Hyperdriver is huge.
Yep. No, only 1 card installed though.
Yes.
Only 1 Proco, nothing else with it, and then Hyperdriver.
So that's an accelerated beta test, and that is going to be
You're gonna fire. Yeah, because your next design and you play 20 something.
Ice. Oh my god. The amount of money you can save off of an accelerated beta test.
If it works.
If
If not, you don't have any ice right now over archives.
So that I wouldn't say was an entire success.
No, that was not that good.
We have 2 failed. It looks like Jerome is going to pop that Hyperdriver. We are warping forward. Boom.
Nice. That was interesting. Cool.
So we have 3 extra clicks. This is a super turn.
Yep.
It's not as if he's going to capitalize that hard on it, but Procoing
He's going to
7
install
times.
stuff.
Yeah.
Procoing and installing.
It's almost like having 2 turns in a row.
Oh, and he's going to install another Hyperdriver.
Yes. This is the inherent strength with Hyperdriver in Hayley's that you can install while doing something else. Parasiting a quicksand without encountering it is an interaction you can only see with very few cards. Yeah, ABT
and then you check because you have so many clicks. So let's check.
Check it. That's a Vitruvius.
Yep.
So that ABT was an entire waste, considering that Parasite came out of nowhere. And we're going to Proco back up. That's all right.
And also ABT trashed 1 Jackson, which is pretty bad.
Oh, that Jackson went. That's rough. Well, that's the gamble you do with 22 ice. I would almost always ABT.
So one interesting thing is that I believe next design is actually a pretty good ID against Hayley, because Hayley needs to set up to be really efficient, especially if you're playing a stealth Hayley, which is slower because it needs more parts. The problem with ABT is not ABT with next design is always the econ.
Right.
It has the worst econ.
So it's actually very interesting if you see the econ. I've obviously seen this game before, but watch how few times Philip clicks for credits. I think he only does it once or twice.
Cool.
Which is very impressive. And a lot of that is very cheap ice.
Yep.
But it's really great. I actually played against Philip later playing the Faust deck that you might have seen before on this channel. And the fact that he could consistently put things in a server that you had to go access early in the game incredibly slows you down. You can't take time to build your board state. You have to go get that melange.
Cool.
Or things are getting out of hand.
Yeah, true.
So we have a face check because that imp has come out. So accesses to HQ are incredibly valuable. So he's going to just res a bunch of ice. Pop-up window is a nice include.
It's one of the auto-include, in my opinion, in the next design.
So that is a nice credit swing. Pop-up window actually ended the run.
It did.
Yep. There's no much normal money, and he's going to check that server and next bronze. So for the grand total of 5 credits, technically 4 because of the pop-up, he was able to protect all the important servers at this point, which is impressive.
Yep.
He
And
does,
if it's a melange,
Yes.
that'd be great.
we'll
see.
It's a 3-pointer, he obviously can't score it, but of course, it's a melange. You have to trash that or money is going to come in. I've also heard a lot of people on the internet talking about melange, whether it's worth it, whether it's a good card. In Next, I think it's particularly good.
Yep.
But looking at the raw numbers, if that's what you want to do, install and then 3 more clicks to get 6 credits because it's 1 for the res.
Mm-hmm. But it's not that great. But at the same time, if you like, I love installing cards that the runner has to go
Yes,
in
that's the
because they
coolest
have
thing.
to spend credit and clicks just to get in your servers.
Yeah.
So if you start playing decks with no install, like just protecting your R&D and HQ, you start seeing that the runner doesn't have to put a lot of clicks into checking remotes, which is slowing them down a lot. Mm-hmm. So I think Melange for that reason is pretty efficient.
It does lower, it makes multi-access on R&D slightly worse, but I do agree with all those points. I also have a problem every once in a while if I build a deck that doesn't have any assets or upgrades, is that you can't, like, say mid-late game just install something face down in a server because the runner has to check it. And if it's a melange and they don't check it, you win. If they check it, you also win because they probably spent a lot of money and time.
Interesting.
So that Parasite is going to go out on the next silver.
Yeah, as always.
So normally the pop-up is the instant Parasite. However, this is a Next deck.
Next is,
And all the Next Ice scales based on how much other Next Ice is rezzed on the board. So generally trashing Next Ice, especially I think silver is incredibly
only
annoying.
has 1 strength if there's like...
And late game that can get 4 or 5 subroutines. That is an incredible lady tax. The Melange is going to be trashed. Something else is going to go there with an upgrade. That's probably an agenda.
Has to be.
It has to be. Unless it's another Melange. That would be
So
absurd.
he's actually satisfied with 15 credits. So he says, I just drew
That's
2
enough.
cards. I have 6 cards in my hand. I'll just install 2, over-install my Melange.
So double clone chip is always very nice. You see there is a personal workshop with an R&D interface on it. That's only a pop-up window. And yet, Next Design isn't that threatened. Still feels okay. You know, that's a late game thing. Accelerated beta test is scored in that server. That's an upgrade in there. We don't know what it is. Is it going to be fired?
Of course
it's going to be fired.
It's only a 9-player tournament, and it's only a summer kit, so let's do it.
I'm so excited that we have so much ABT on camera.
All right, next
Okay.
gold.
Okay.
No R&D.
No R&D.
No, let's go for
As much
that
as that's
remote.
only 1 card out of the accelerated beta test, that was 8 credits.
Yep.
And 2 agenda points.
Yep.
That's absurd. That's really cool.
Really good. And what about the...
Install cost also would have been 2 more credits.
Yeah.
You had to draw install that ice. That's
So
insane.
at that point, if I'm the runner, I'm like, he has the winning agendas in his hand because he's overprotecting a remote. So I'll check HQ.
Oh, right.
Because
Yeah.
if he has a 5-3 in his hand, he might be able to score it. Oh, interesting.
This is super cool. This is something that was added to this deck recently, which is Rachel Beckman, which he has the money to install, and you can install. It's another resource, so you generally double install. With Hyperdriver and Rachel Beckman, the turn is incredibly long. It is 3 turns. That's an exaggeration, but it is insane. It's so cool.
It's actually 2 turns.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's absurd. You do have to watch out for being tagged.
Of course.
If I was playing Rachel Beckman, I'm playing against NBN just because of the ubiquity of breaking news. I don't install her.
Just don't install her.
Just don't do
it's
it.
not that bad.
Yeah. Next Design definitely does not have a card that has the word tag on it anywhere or trace even. Probably not.
So more money for Corp. So
For Philip there.
Yep.
Another thing in that server, probably an agenda. Looks like Jerome is just going to check that HQ. Paper wall. That's a cool piece of ice.
interesting.
Well, I think it's an
Next
auto
Design, right?
include a Next Design. You can score behind that. If that takes a lady token, that's kind of nice, I guess. 4 credits.
I'd rather play Ice Wall for sure, but if you
That's
don't have the influence, go for it.
Yeah, Ice Wall would be nice. I haven't seen Paper Wall a lot.
No.
If you don't know, also
Lady.
the lady comes out to deal with the Paper Wall.
So now 2 ice are gone. That's
Yeah.
the biggest problem.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, actually. Parasite and pop-up lady coming up, so let's smash that ice wall. The paper wall is going to fold. Boom. And we get an access on HQ. The imp token is probably going to eat something. You hope it's a next dice, but a pop-up window that's fine.
That's all right.
You would have parasited it if anything.
But what about that remote?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jeez.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be another scored agenda if I'm incorrect. Yep. ABT, let's do it.
Oh,
yes.
one more.
Hey, all 3 ABTs, all
Incredible.
3. Is he going to fire? I would fire. You got to fire it. Why wouldn't you, right? And the thing is, an ABT actually did fire, and Jerome hasn't checked it.
True.
So that's interesting. There could be 2 to 3 points in there. It's now game point, so everything matters. 1 Jackson is gone.
Yeah, the biggest thing is no ace up for Hayley slowed her down because it doesn't have a lot of credits. So we're going to look at what's going on.
One thing entirely worth noting is that next design does have a limited amount of influence. I think it might only be 12.
I think it's only 12, yeah.
Yeah, 10 or I think it's
10
12.
or 12, but I think it's 12.
So we know pop-ups, probably 3 influence gone. Maybe 3 Jackson. So that's another 3
probably.
influence.
Yeah.
So he's only dealing with
6 influence.
6 influence. That doesn't seem nothing that scary.
Ash or Caprice. There's an
Ash or
upgrade
Caprice.
in there.
There's an upgrade in there. Looks like that ABT is only going to get 1. Again, only 1. That's incredibly unlucky, actually, looking at the deck.
But there's already a lot of ice on the board. So 1 more ice on that remote. That remote is crazy. It's so expensive to get in.
The amount of money that was saved off of ABT on the installs and the reses is really impressive.
Yeah, it's cool.
Turing isn't that good, admittedly, against the refractor. It's 1 stealth credit, 1 credit. So putting it on wherever you put it, it's not the biggest difference. It's 1 credit more. There's no stealth credits on the board, so the refractor is going to demand stealth credits before he can break the Turing. So there might be a window here in theory.
Yeah, maybe. With the upgrade, for sure.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what it is.
Yeah. So unprotected AHQ, might as well check that. Perhaps use an imp counter. Hopefully you find a next ice, get rid of that. There you do, next silver.
Or agendas.
Agendas would be good too. So that's gone. You do have the 5-click Rachel Beckman, which is awesome. There we go. We do have the stealth credits and a daily cast. Money is coming in. Is this fast enough though?
We'll see.
Damn,
we'll see.
Next design is so fast. It is scary and fast, but not in a fast advanced way, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
So Personal Workshop is going to put the hyperdriver out on there.
Also, no pressure on R&D at that point.
No, and he has
so
2
rough.
RDIs building
almost installed.
Yeah. So we'll
the
see. The
credit count is so low for the runner, though.
Yeah.
It's gonna be better now with.
You got 4 credits coming in for sure. The hyperdriver might come out. Trash the cash, the imp. I think you have the influence. I mean the MU.
Yep.
Looks like 2 cards are going to go in the remote. You have to check the remote. It's game point. That's his turn now. And hyperdriver will give you the turn to build up, get credits, and check the remote, which is really cool.
Yep.
But 2 upgrades.
2 upgrades.
Can't be Ash. Doesn't have the money. That's not sustainable.
And Caprice would cost 4 influence. So if you have 6 remaining, you put in 1 Caprice and maybe interns to bring her back.
Not sure. Yep.
It's rough.
And
all right. So hyperdriver installed and used.
Fired immediately. So hyperdriver, you do have to pay the actual credit to bring it off the workshop because it has to be on your board at the beginning of the turn.
Yep.
Because if you use off Personal Workshop, you've missed that window.
Yeah, true.
So that means another credit's going to come off the RDI. And now our turn is, 8 clicks? Jesus. Wow.
8 clicks.
What can't you do with 8 clicks?
I think you can do everything.
Yeah, that's impressive.
The problem is having only 4 credits. But that's the only problem.
Yeah.
And you need a Sentry Breaker at that
Ghost Runner
point.
credits. Yeah, you do need a Sentry Breaker.
That would be great for next gold.
Yeah. So let's see.
All right. So using Proco 3 times now.
Make some money. Can he do it? Can
one
he get
more.
In? This has to be
so
game point.
he only has 1 more turn, which is 4 clicks.
Only 1 more turn. Yep. And Daily Cast doesn't fire again, but yeah,
that'd be broken.
Yeah. So he's looking, and he does have a lot of recursion. You can also pull a cash out if you need money on the run. That's nice. See what we want to do. He hasn't used the double install yet, from what I understand.
No.
So he can maybe get a cloak and dagger. Actually, I think he did trash a bunch of cloaks early game. He did draw them at an inopportune time. Didn't want to put them
So
out.
you could use the clone chip mid-run to bring back a dagger or cloaks?
Yeah, you might have to. Well, no, you do have the Ghost Runner. But we'll see. If this is probably game point. You could... He needs, 5 points? You could even maybe go for R&D with all
You
the
could.
big. It's not,
You could.
Probably, you can't find 5 points in 3 cards.
Probably not.
Probably not the best. You could get an imp out, maybe see another card, but again,
Unlikely, yeah.
We know where the agenda is. We can probably get in. Shaper's generally good at getting into things.
Unless Caprice, but let's
Yeah.
not assume there's a Caprice because of influence. But beside that, has to be Ash. And Ash would be actually great for the corp right now.
Just because the money is really low.
Yep.
But I don't think you can build a next design deck and assume to have a lot of money. True. Because that's a slow, not a rush thing,
Also
right?
true.
Did he Proco one more time? Did I say that right?
I think he did.
Okay. He just needs those pieces. Now you're holding all these cards in your hand, and are so many of those cards useless? That is not something you see in Shaper. That's it's unfortunate. Okay. All right, so he can break through 2 of those ice. One of them is unknown. If it's a barrier, we're good. If it's a sentry, we have the original problem. That next ice is going to trash 2 programs because there's 2 ice up and do 2 net damage.
Which is really bad.
That is not that bad considering you have 2 clone chips. You could kind of walk through it.
Yep.
He does put a Ghost Runner out, installs an SMC, and now he's going to run. This might be his last click. So the Turing is going to get 1 Ghost running credit, and we are going to hit the next gold, and that is what the upgrade is.
Oh, interesting.
So Marcus Batty is amazingly strong with next gold.
Yep, that's why next gold went on the remote.
Yes, you can flat out win the game with next gold in certain circumstances. If you have all that next ice and you fire, say, 6 net damage.
Yeah, fortunately for Jerome, he trashed a couple next.
Yes, so
0 against
it's
1.
It's gonna hit. So now you get to decide what subroutine, and I believe he's going to do the trash 2 programs. It is going to take out both of the breakers, and now you actually hit the next gold. But
another Batty. Wow, right. That's so cool.
This is going to be really
next
strong.
With 2 Marcus Batty.
I think that's all his influence.
Yeah, probably.
I think there might only be 2 Jacksons in here. Not enough influence. So now you play the game. He played 0 the first time, which is a amazing bet. Now he's going to go all in. 2 credits for the Marcus Batty. His choice in firing, we'll see. It looks like he's going to trash programs. Only 1 program. Clone chip is out. Might not be the best used. We'll see. But this could be game right here. So Marcus Batty is a really strong card.
Yep. But fortunately for Jerome, as I said.
Yep.
Most next were trashed and also enough cards in his end to not die.
Yes. So it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
He's going to hit the Eli, so he only has to be able to break 2 pieces of ice. He has
2 clone chips.
And I think he has the money. So he's going to clone chip at the lady, 1 credit.
Yep.
Probably coming off the Ghost Runner. Or is he actually going to just pay for that?
He paid.
Okay, cool. And then he's going to be able to clone chip the Refractor for 1 easy credit, 1 to break, and access the card.
Mm-hmm. Using his Ghost Runner's credit now.
Yep. And what was in that server?
An APD would be great.
Bifrost
it's
Array.
a 3-1.
So it's a 3-1. That was game point.
Oof.
That's the best one to put.
That was a rough turn for Shipper just to get 1 point.
Just 1 point.
Ooh, but that's a game point?
Yeah, that's game point. What can you do?
So now 2 Batty out.
Yeah.
So interesting game now.
I kind of like Marcus Batty. As frustrating as the first times I played against him, I was playing Criminal, and recursion is not a thing, so you can just lose the game.
Yep.
So much of the time you put ice in your deck because you want the subroutines to fire. And for the majority of the game, the subroutines don't fire, but it becomes an economic decision. Like, this costs 3 credits to break every time.
So now it makes you maybe fire that subroutine. Yeah. You still have to win the Psy game, but that's interesting.
But the subroutines that you dismissed can now fire, which is exciting because now you can put ice in your deck that just have good subroutines.
And most players use it for trashing programs, so they put 1 end around behind the trashing program. So if you, for example, fire Roto Turret, trash the sentry, and then they have to encounter the Roto Turret again and trash 1 more. So like you said, as Criminal, it's so rough. Bad. So rough.
I have nightmares of Marcus Batty with Archer. That's 3 programs down the drain. That's the entire rig is Criminal. Looks like Jerome is going to run on RD. He's going to pull out the 2 RDIs. There's no res. 2 credits doesn't seem like someone can score. And that is efficiency committee. Okay, so now we're on actually game point.
All right.
He could run 1 more time, see another card. Perhaps that'd be game. Maybe install another RDI. We'll see what's good. Now, what could be installed in that remote? If it's a 4-pointer, he can't score it right away if it's a 2 for 4. And it looks like the fact that he advanced it.
So he couldn't get in the remote for some reason? Too expensive?
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a sentry breaker.
Yep.
Let alone, a sentry breaker, I guess is what it is. And he's going to go 1 more time. If that last card is an agenda, that is game. And it looks like R&D is holding out. All right. I think that might be the end of the turn now. He's going to put a personal workshop and the ASAP's going to come out.
Just
so
in case.
Some money, yep.
In case it's not an agenda.
Yeah, so it looks like
we
we
never
have
know.
An advance and a shipment from Sansa. And that's how you score 2 for 4 with 2 credits.
Cool.
That's really good. 8 points. Hey, well played. In retrospect, something that everybody realized after the game is that you might get tunneled a bit on the Marcus Batty. You could have just, if Philip just Marcus Batty for an end the run, he would have won the game.
True.
Yeah. He got really concerned and did trash the program because he kind of want to do that because it's fun. But if he just, I think John's pointing it right now, if he just did the Eli or the next bronze,
and
he would have had the game.
That was last click.
Yes, it was last click.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see what he can do with him. Just kind of make sure you don't tunnel down that. Game 2 of this matchup actually won't be on this YouTube channel. It was there was a lot of glare problems. It was an RP versus Ian. It was a really slow game. So what can we do? Stay tuned. There will be more of this summer kit coming up in the near future. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
See ya, everyone.
Ciao.